Hey Owning This Life family, it's me MJ again with another episode of Owning This Life. So far the season has been amazing and today I'm sitting with another amazing person. We actually grew up together in Enidale, if you will believe it or not, and he's making waves in the media industry. His name is Moe Peterson and we used to climb the wall to visit each other. Yeah. That's how it is in Enidale, guys. Moe, how are you?
I'm all good. Thank you so much for having me. This is great.
It's such a pleasure. I've been watching you for such a long time, and all these big waves you are making. You've been doing TV stuff, and I mean, you inspire, I think, a lot of people more than you realize, including me.
Oh, thank you.
But let us start in the beginning. So we grew up together in Enidale. I know that we had like a friend's house that was between each road, and I used to jump over the wall.
We had a
and used to play together. When you were that age, what did you think your career and your life was going to look like?
You know what? I love that question. It's so serendipitous that you're saying all of this because I thought about it. I'm like, you know what? We actually grew up together.
Yeah.
You know, and it's so crazy that, you know, just how God and the universe aligns you and brings you back together. So I think even when we were younger, you know, we became friends.
Yeah.
Or there was a greater purpose, and it could be just like engaging in this kind of conversations. So
Yeah, what did you think you were going to be when you grew up though? Because I know like some of your friends have gone into other areas of their lives, and the people we were mutual friends with are not in this industry at all. Did you think you'd be doing media? What was the plan growing up?
You know, I always wanted to go to like drama school in Rhodes, so that was one of that was on my list, you know, medicine or...
Medicine?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. I was going to do medicine or drama. And then I applied at Rhodes. I think I didn't get into Rhodes, you know, but it's okay. So this one day, we took my aunt to the airport. She's from London, right? And I see this group of people like marching, you know, in a straight line, and it was the cabin crew.
Yeah.
And that just like took my breath away, and I just knew that whatever it is they doing, I want to do that, because I always knew that I was great.
Yeah.
You know, I grew up and I always knew I was great. I was always like in little plays at school. You know, I used to do the plays in school, and, you know, I used to be a ballroom dancer. So I had like different kind of like growing up tactics, you know, but I think I knew I was heading into the television, more television.
Yeah.
You know, fashion also hit me by storm. That all happened
yeah.
in the USA, you know, but I always knew that I would end up doing something within the television space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I know you do a lot in the fashion industry as well. I mean, you have a show that talks about fashion and beauty. And for me, it was like, I know you for so long and I've seen these things. I'm like, how did you even like get there? Because for me, like coming from where we're at, fashion and beauty and whatever is not big on the agenda. It's survival, right? And it's been difficult for many of us to get out of that survival mode into creative mode.
Yeah.
What do you think really inspires you to be as creative as you are in both your shows and with fashion and all of the various things that you are currently busy with?
Yeah. I allow myself to be myself. You know, I really allow myself to be myself. You know, I think we had this little conversation off camera, and I said, like, you know, when you start in or you're doing, you tend to, or you have a baby, you know what's happening. You're the engine, so you want to like do everything yourself. But in the long run, you know, you realize that, oh my gosh, but it's okay giving some, you know, some
Stuff
of that to other people as well. So I think in that perspective, you know, I always just knew. You know, I always just knew.
So I always ask all of my guests this because I always try to figure out what is the thing that actually drives you when things go wrong. Because especially in the media industry, things go wrong a lot. And a lot of the time we have to pick ourselves up off the floor and just continue going. What are the things for you that have really like kind of, you know, jolted you a little bit? And what are the lessons that you have learned from those things?
Yeah. I mean, it's just like you do have a lot of fails before you come to any point of hitting a milestone.
Yeah.
There's a lot of falling, you know, and it's really how you pick yourself up. So my theory is like, I've fallen, you know, let me do some introspection. This is what happened, you know, this is how I have to fix myself. But I'm just going to get up and I'm going to go because it's really a passion.
Yes.
You know, it's really a passion. It's not that I'm looking for a big salary, I'm looking for fame. It's just I'm so passionate about it.
I think that's the misconception that a lot of people have, is that now I want to be famous because if you're famous in South Africa, you get paid a particular amount, and this is the kind of lifestyle you have. And I find that celebrities kind of misrepresent what living that life is like.
And how real that life is.
And there's so many things that you have to face every day. I mean, you need to face yourself first and foremost.
Absolutely.
Off camera, we were talking a little bit about what it's like to reach your 30s. And I mean, we've recently within our 30s and started to see ourselves a little differently than we did in our 20s. What has the last 3 years in your 30s been like for you with regards to realizing yourself, your career, and where you're currently at and where you're going?
Yeah. I mean, it was such a shift.
Yeah.
You know, it went like 30. And a few days into it, I was like, I don't know, was it a chemical shift or something? But I just felt grown.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I think like even psychologically, there was just this awakening. You know, so the 30s has been a bit more focused, you know. The 30s has been, has hit milestones.
Yes.
You know, and the 30s, I don't know, there's more focusness. And you've grown, so you're really now just concentrating on your being and yourself, you know, and are you okay? Am I okay mentally? Am I okay physically, emotionally? Just all of that stuff. It's like you check in with yourself and then you just don't give a
damn about anything.
You don't give a damn about it. You know, do you. Focus on you. That's it.
You know, I always say to people, I wish that, like, my 30s have taught me so much. I wish people would learn earlier, like in their 20s, they come into that realization. But do you think the 20s are necessary for this realization to happen when you hit your 30s?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the 20s is crazy because the 20s, we want everything.
Yes.
You know, our dreams and our goals, everything is like big, you know? And we want everything in our 20s, you know? So the 20s, there's a lot of that falling, you know? There's a lot of that falling, getting up, go. But I think as long as you're just in your 20s surrounded by a good bunch of people, you know, that supports your vision, that understands you different. You know, it's beautiful to have friends that look at you and know, like, okay, you're different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like, my friends have always looked at me with that sense and like, you're different. And, you know, I knew, like, growing up that I was different. Yet in sense of how I dress, how I feel comfortable. Like, I feel extremely comfortable just being myself. Just in my own being.
It's interesting that you mentioned like your support system, because I know I actually had a conversation recently with someone whose son is in that space and they're battling between their personal points of view and the son's freedom to express himself. Do you find that having a support system that is just allowing you to be who you need to be has helped evolve you into the person that you are today?
Absolutely. You know, my parents have been so involved, you know, especially my mom, you know, whatever I wanted to do, and I've had crazy dreams and I've achieved, you know, thank God, like I've hit those milestones, you know. I always had dreams of like being on billboards, and the day I saw myself on the billboard, I'm like, okay, it's him, you know, it's you. And I always like used to drive past and be like, you know, that's hard work, you know, like, and it looks fancy from it, but it takes a lot of pain, sweat, tears. You know, it takes a lot. Everyone always just sees like curtain call.
Yes.
You know, people see when the curtain is now called. But you know, behind the scenes, it is crazy, and you need to find a balance, you know, between what is real and what's not.
Yes.
You know, because people still live in big facade, and they have like big facades up and they're just painting like everything is okay, and then all of a sudden they break down, and then the newspaper and you know and
then everyone's like, what happened? Everything was
But
great.
everything was great. You were like with different brands associated, and you were just doing the most. You know,
yeah, and they don't realize like how important it is to have people who are there when things go wrong.
Absolutely.
Because you can't deal with that by yourself. And you have said to me that your parents are so supportive. I find in this time,
very supportive,
especially South Africans, it's difficult when you're different. In the 5 years that I have been a naturalista, I've always relied on one thing to take me through my calls and waves. A natural hair lifestyle can be difficult to maintain if you don't know where to start. But I've always known where to go when I need a little spark. Being my authentic self includes maintaining the beauty of my natural curl, because it's part of who I am and represents a heritage I am proud of. When you use better products, you'll have better hair.
You know,
yeah, and they don't realize like how important it is to have people who are there when things go wrong.
Absolutely.
Because you can't deal with that by yourself. And you have said to me that your parents are so supportive. I find in this time,
very supportive,
especially South Africans, it's difficult when you're different. So tell me a little bit about how you deal with people who try to like dim your light, because you know you have like really big light. How do you deal with those people?
How do I deal with those people? Honestly, MJ, it's, you know, I pray for them. No, honestly, I promise you, I pray for them and I put them on the altar. And I'm like, God, please, you deal with them in the best way and that is good for you, that you know how. And I'm going to let them go, you know, because like sometimes when you're angry and someone like does, you know, you can become really nasty. So I'd rather choose to let it go. And God always like just comes through.
Yeah.
You know, like when he says he prepared a table before my enemies. Like, you know, so I don't give them much of my energy because, you know, energy is so imperative.
Yes.
You know, to our own nourishment. So the energy that I can spare as much, you know, for myself and for my own well-being. So I don't give a lot of concentration, you know, or put a lot of focus on just what everyone is saying, because yes, besides the big shine, there's always going to be that people that wants to dim your lights, you know, that wants to speak about things that really doesn't matter, you know, but for them, you know, they want to speak. And I always say to people like that, while you doing that, you become so stagnant, you know, focusing on me. Like, boom, I've got a brand new TV show that just came up. What are you doing?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, I kill them just by my word.
Yes.
You know, I quiet the devil just by my work. You know, when you think I've fallen or you think I'm becoming nothing or I'm losing it, no, I'm building myself. You know,
I think most people don't even see that that part of it, because it's very easy to be discouraged by the things that people say, and it's very easy to be hurt. But essentially what you're saying is you're choosing not to be harmed, because essentially that choice is yours, right, at the end of the day. How did you come around even doing that in the first place? Because I think it's you have to reteach yourself and unlearn some behaviors.
You really have to start striving to live in your now. You know, you have to really like just focus to be in the now, to be in this interview with you, you know, to engage with you, to be here and not to think of something else, and just be constantly aware of my own thoughts, you know. So I hear a lot, so I have become in control of my own thoughts. You know, I was just telling my beautiful team that, you know, like you have to go through the process of feeling hurt or feeling abused or feeling used or all of that negative stuff that we go through. You have to deal with it, not having money, your finances. You must go through it, you know, and you must be able to identify and stop yourself and be like, you know what, I don't want to feel like that.
Yes.
I'm not a low life. I'm not hopeless. You know, and then you be like, okay, you're there, but okay, you're not for me. And then you let it go. You know, serotonin is a chemical that balances out. Right? It's a chemical in the brain. But just like a mere fake smile,
Helps, yes.
releases serotonin, which balances you. And what people don't educate us is that depression is really a disease of sadness. You know, and you just go sadder and sadder and sadder because you're losing, the serotonin has now stopped producing, and you yourself, because you never even thinking, let me just like put on a fake smile. You know, because just the banner of a fake smile releases that serotonin. So if you remind yourself that I need to smile, I need to produce serotonin, I need to be healthy, I need to look after myself. If something is not going, you know, you must be aware and be sharp. And I think that answers your question.
Yeah. You know what, actually it goes so much deeper into all of the things that I talk about every day, because I find like in South Africa specifically, we are culturally dispositioned to believe that everything that happens to us is everybody else's responsibility, and then we can blame everybody for what's happening. But you're bringing it down to the simple truth that it takes simple steps to get yourself out of a rut. You don't have to physically do much. I mean, just pretending to smile can change how your entire outlook for the day is. So how do you, like, if things are chaotic and so busy, and I know with your shows, you're doing things with big companies, one day we'll be there. How do you, in the crazy moments, just center yourself when everyone is all around you and, you know, the room is just bursting with things happening?
To God be the glory for asking that question. I'm always in meditation with my God. You know, I'm always in meditation with the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit was administered unto us to comfort us, to bring comfort to the soul. So whenever I'm going chaotic and it's crazy, I go into my inner room and I'm like, Jesus, and I'm like, Holy Spirit, I need you. You know, I need you. You know, I need you, I need you, I need you. And then slowly I start calming myself down, and then I start hearing God speak to me. And God says to me, you have to finish this. You know, you've started this. There's so many other people that's depending on you, so you got to keep on moving. Whoever needs to be left at the altar, leave them at the altar, and I'll deal with them.
Yes.
You continue. And that's all I've done. You know, if you become too much in my life and you like want to hinder me, you know, if you want to be a devil like in sheep's thing, I'm going to put you on the altar of God. And I'm going to be like, God, you deal with that. But I'm still continuing. I'm sitting here with you. You know, we've been going through this ubiquitous pandemic, but you know, I still get to do this. I launched my show in March. So, you know, God is good. You know, God is good because I pray. And the word says, whatever you ask in my name, I'm going to give it to you. So I'm not defeated. You know, I don't listen to people that saying the economy is coming down and this is. No, I do none of that. I remain positive because despite whatever, you know, that there's always still good. The world is still continuing.
And I think it's a lot of our default to go into like, oh my word, woe is me. Because I remember when lockdown happened for me, I was like, okay, everything is just stopping. What am I going to do now? But I mean, we're 5 months in, and I've had to continue being in a positive mindset, like this is going to happen, this is going to happen. And I haven't gone hungry one single day, which I'm still every day like so glad for. But I love the fact that you're bringing it down to your center, which is God. And I find that a lot of people don't know how to find a center. How do you, is this how you stay grounded? And how do you communicate this, for instance, to your team when they are feeling chaotic?
You can ask my team. There's never, whenever we're traveling or moving, we constantly speak positivity. You know, we constantly do reflection. So when we're done, when we leave here, you know, we'll have time to do reflection, and we'll say like, what have we learned from each other? And you can ask them. That's what we do. You know, everything for me, it's always led. God is in control, so I'm just a vessel, and I just become a worthy instrument, you know. But what God gives me, I give to them. You know, so the encouragement, the keep going, you're doing great, you know, thank you so much, a lot of gratitude and appreciation, and this is what makes them just come back, you know, and we are family, you know what I'm saying? So even during these times, I'll be like, I need you, because I said to them, like, without them, like, you know, looking this good, It doesn't just happen.
Yeah.
You know, you need to have people that's really standing with you, that
Yes.
will take your pants, you know, it's not afraid to see you take off your pants,
Yeah.
and, you know, very comfortable. So I'm always encouraging them, you know, and we're always encouraging each other to be better, to do better, and never speak. We take the negative and we turn it into a positive.
I think that's a very great point for leadership, because I don't. You're saying it in such a beautiful way, but you're actually leading a group of people to understand that if they're going to function in whatever it is they do forever, that this is how they lead. How do you think, from coming from where you grew up and everything that you decided to do in your life, how do you think that you kind of embrace this positive idea of how, you know, life needs to look? And in the sense, I'm trying to find the right words here, but in a sense, giving it back to the people who work with you. Was there a moment maybe that happened where you're like, you know what, I can't be doing this anymore. I can't be listening to the people who are worried about life and worried about where I'm going to go to. Was there an event, or was it just by pure experience from being in the industry where you're in and all the things that you are currently doing?
Yeah. Mine, you know, as Oprah always says, my aha
moment, yes.
My aha moment. I think my aha moment was always like because I've always been a traveler. You know, I've always been a trotting the globe and, you know, being around. I love immersing myself into different cultures, you know, just understanding how people live, you know, and really in different parts of the world, you know. So for me, I've always just immersed myself in my own strength and my own capabilities, you know, and knowing that you can do it. If you want to do it, you can do it. So do it. You know, like, you can do it. It's there. So make it all happen. You know, so, and then I do it, you know.
I find like a lot of people are always like, how do you keep doing these things? Like, for a lot, I don't think, like I was asking if there was an aha moment, but I think there are a few like instances that kind of remind us if I've achieved something, it means I can achieve whatever else I want to do next. I find that, like with me, for instance, I lost a lot of weight and then I was like, okay, if I've done this successfully, it means I can actually play this out in every area of my life. Do you do this in every area of your life? I mean, like with your health and your wellness and your mental capacity, and then with the relationships that you have, do you really focus on every individual aspect, or do you let it just happen progressively on its own and deal with it as it comes up?
I really try and balance everything out. You know, I really try and balance everything out. And like I said earlier, I'm striving to live in my now. So if I'm doing this in my now, so if I'm doing research on my PC and something else comes up that makes me feel a bit of angst, you know, that's not important. It's not the priority. The priority is you are in the enjoyment of this. You know, so enjoy this moment, and finish this, and then go on to the next. So it's for me, it's always been learning to balance, because I come from just chaotic, you know, just doing everything and wanting to do everything, and then I've burnt out a lot of times.
And you end up not finishing a lot of the things that you start.
I was depressed, anxiety, you know, I've been through a lot, you know, so, you know, people look at me and always think like, oh my gosh, he's always, he's doing this. There's a lot of hard work, you know, there's a lot of hard work, little sleep, you know, a lot of crying days, feeling down, feeling broken, a lot of stuff, you know, and people are getting paid, you know, you don't even know what a salary looks like anymore, you know, people are filing tax, and like, you're like, oh my God, I miss those, you know, but then you have a greater goal, you know, you have a greater goal to build, you know, and to build and to introduce and to bring new.
And your purpose.
That's
because I feel like you're so focused on your purpose, you don't allow yourself to get distracted.
Absolutely.
And all of us are trying to learn that lesson.
Absolutely.
So I ask all of my guests that come and sit here, what does owning this life mean to you? I mean, in its entirety, what would you interpret owning your life to be?
Owning my life is striving to the perfection of God, you know, and that just means simply being a better person each day, you know, letting my past be my past and accept my future for now, and really strive to live in the now, like appreciate, you know, just being in the now and having this conversation and being invited by you, you know, and being so, within that thought, being so grateful and so appreciative of that. So for me, owning my life is living my true, authentic self.
Yeah.
You know, just to be authentic to myself and knowing that I don't have to answer to anyone. You don't have to ask me like, who am I dating? Why am I dating? Who am I? Like, that has nothing, that's not gonna like, you know, build anything on your end, you know, it's just about progress. If he can do it, then I can do it. It's, if he's gotten to that point, then I can get to that point. But you just always remain humble. You know, never forget where you come from.
Yeah.
You know, never be embarrassed or have resentment in terms of where you come from. It never defines where you're going to. But you can still comfortably sit in a taxi, you know, with people and feel like, this is okay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Still being the great you.
Yeah.
You must be there. So one day when they see you again on TV, you know, they see me on this show, they'll be like, oh gosh, but I sat next to that guy. You know?
And he wasn't like bougie about it.
Yeah, you know, like just stuff like that. It makes people, you inspire people without, like you're saying, without you knowing, you're inspiring someone. Yeah.
No, I actually really love that, because I find people, when they see you on TV, they expect, oh, you've made it. But there's never a made it.
No.
You know, you need to stay within that humble, because at any point, anything could fall away. And then you need to rebuild yourself up. But if you put yourself on a pedestal, it's really hard to start from scratch.
It's just a milestone. You've just hit that milestone. You know, so it's just like, okay, that is done. But there is still like 30 or 20, 40 other steps that's coming after. And you need to give it the same momentum, the same consistency, the same passion, the same drive. You know, you have to give it the same energy so that it also becomes successful, so that it turns into another positive element in your life.
Yeah. No, I think you really spoke to a lot of people. You spoke to me. There's some things, I need to actually note down. Because I know how hard it is, especially when you start on your own, doing everything on your own. And it's so important for us to listen to stories like yours, because at the end of the day, it takes us out of our minds and where we are, and understand that there's a greater plan happening for us at the end of the day. Thank you so much for coming all the way here just to see little me.
I feel like it feels so short. I'm like, no, I'm just getting into this. And you want to cut the show.
No, that's always the case, like always the case, because we kind of cover the surface stuff, but we want to get to a point where we're really digging into this and actually helping assist people change their lives. Because it's senseless we have the conversation about where you came from and where you are now, and not really help people step up in their own lives. But I'm so blessed to have you. You've taught me a lot of lessons, and in the conversations we've been having, I'm like, dang, I need to look at my life a little closer.
Thank you.
But I really, really, really appreciate you.
No, I really thank you so. And my team, my team was even saying like, it's so good to be here with you now. You know, so when you hit that milestone or your breakthrough, you know, it's always incredible to have friends like that, or to have influences like that, you know, and to look at you, you know, like being internationally, and we were like, we know her, we started with her. You know,
you'll hear the prophecy happening here.
We know. So we're glad that we could meet. We're glad that we could meet and engage again. You know, I think the timing is just perfect.
Yeah.
And never be afraid to ask. That's my key. I love cold knocking. Never be afraid to ask, because the worst that can happen to you is just no.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to die or anything. And I've been saying that for the last couple of weeks. I'm like, if you say no, it's no, it's fine. If you ghost me, it's cool.
I'm surprised how people really want to help other people. You know, how they want to come and help you step up, and also being that platform. And so please, you know, I really... You know, let's help each other.
No, that is the plan, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to have you on for all of those things, because we're going to really do impactful things in the next couple of months.
I'm excited. Thank you.
But I appreciate you so much. And thank you, Owning This Life family, for tuning in today. This show was so important because I needed to show you guys the importance of someone who really focuses on where they want to go and how they focus on their authentic selves. In the South African atmosphere at the moment, we have a habit of trying to dump people for who they actually are. And it's so important to stay true to your belief systems and who you are and where you come from. Stay humble, because it will take you to all the places that you are purposed to go. If you need any more information on the show, you can go to owninggthislife.co.za, and if you want to email me for comments or questions or even some information on what's going to happen in the next couple of months, you can email me on info@owninggthislife.co.za. Don't forget to follow our Facebook page and YouTube channel for all the amazing things that are going to happen in the next couple of months. And know that I love you and have an amazing week.